I'm not okay with this. Oh, oh! Well, it's that time of the year again, well, that point in my life where it's time to start worrying about the SATs. SAT stands for Slimy Atrocious Terror. Actually, it stands for nothing. SAT is just SAT. Now, it used to be called the Scholastic Aptitude Test, but it changed. This is because test sponsors felt that the word aptitude was more like a genetic characterization, which made the test sort of a gene examination. However, Janice Gams, spokesperson of College Board, claims it was just a misconception. Except I pictured Janice Gams to look like a yam with an old librarian voice and glasses. I'm not bullshitting you. That's not accurate. College entrance exams were quite common by the late 1800s, with pretty much every school having one of them. Here's what they would look like back then. This one is Harvard and this one is MIT. The College Entrance Examination Board was formed in 1899 and was later formed into the company College Board, which you know today. They first created the SAT in 1926, and at first it was only accepted into 12 schools. Now pretty much every school accepts the SAT. Now, if you want to get a 2400 on the SAT, you've got to follow these steps. 1. Cut a hole in the 1. Take some practice tests, either with a tutor or online. Or use one of these helpful books. The SAT Question of the Day app is also very helpful, but don't procrastinate. Watch this video I made on procrastination. Oh, well, wait, I didn't make it yet. I will. Eventually. 2. Get a good night's sleep before the test. Studies say you need about 8 hours of sleep to be fully refreshed. But here's a life pro tip. If you put Q-tips up your nose and red nail polish on your right pinky toe, then you will be waking up feeling 3 times as refreshed. 3. Eat a good breakfast. 4. When you're taking the test, stay focused. Don't look outside daydreaming or somewhere else. Okay, here's some data to see how you stand on the SAT. There are many graphs and statistics out there that show how your favorite things compare to the score on your SAT. First, here's a look at how people's favorite music decided on how well they did on the SAT. The lowest being at Lil Wayne, duh.
Auto-tune.
And right above that is gospel. However, my favorite band, The Shins, being pretty close to the top. They also have favorite book. Noted this graph is out of the 1600 scale, which they had previously and not anymore. Now it's out of 2400. So the Bible was at about a 900, The Hobbit at 1500, and the highest scores are Loyola and 100 Years of Solitude. I've never heard of either of those books, so that's how well I'm gonna do on the test. However, here is an interesting graph. It shows how well they did on the SAT based on their house annual income. Isn't it strange how the highest grades make the highest amount of money and the lowest grades don't make as much? Shouldn't the test be more about common sense than on how much you can pay for education? I mean, money is a big disadvantage in education. Obama announced that he's going to propose a bill that allows people to get 2 free years of community college, which in my opinion is great. Don't you think we should make education more accessible? However, the SAT is changing to suit more common knowledge needs. For example, next year they're taking away the essay portion on the test. However, a similar test is gaining traction because it deals more with common knowledge and not all that shit the SAT does. It's called the ACT and it's very different than the SAT. I mean, look at this graph. It shows how people in different states did compared to the SAT and the ACT. They're 2 very different scales, meaning regionally we focus on different portions of study than in other regions of the United States. The SAT being more focused on vocabulary and the ACT having more straightforward questions. I recently just took an ACT practice test in this book and it took about 3.5 hours and was a total pain in the ass. But I made a time lapse of it, so here's that. But you gotta do what you gotta do to get into college, right? Actually, no. Colleges are moving away towards emphasis on standardized tests and more towards how well you do in the classroom. Some colleges don't even require you to send any standardized test scores in. In my opinion, the current state of standardized tests are not doing a good job at getting a general consensus on the aptitude of the student. There needs to be a reform in it. There needs to be a whole change, and I don't see that change happening anytime soon. So what can we do right now? What students are consistently having to do is they have to study for this specific test. They have to know what the test is asking, and I don't think that's right. I think that colleges should be doing a different searching process to get the correct aptitude of the student, to get a feel for how smart they are, how good they are at learning things, and if they'd be a good fit for the school. And tests like the SAT and the ACT, they're not doing a good job at that. They're just getting the overall view of if they can study for a test, a specific test that doesn't even ask good questions. That's all I have to say about those tests. I'll make another video soon. Goodbye.